because that would create a lot of problems for Mr. Patel, should you pass it tonight. The second issue, if we start out at the beginning, Mr. Patel put in an application. It has two different parcel numbers. One of those parcel numbers is actually associated with 3477 Rainey Avenue, as you can see on OpDoc 3. OpDoc 3 shows that the owner of the property is Venus Virginia Avenue LLC, and I don't see, on OpDoc 2 you'll see that Mr. Patel states that he's the owner, whereas the Fulton County Development Authority states that Venus Virginia Avenue LLC is the owner. So he would need to make some kind of statement that he was the agent for Venus Virginia Avenue, which he has not. The second thing is that, well, this may be the third thing. If you look back on OpDoc number 6, the procedure already this evening, the procedure for a zoning hearing has not been followed because it starts on F and there's no place for a staff comment. It starts out with each applicant shall appear before the council, identify himself or herself, and it goes on and it mentions opposition, have their turn. So what we've had now is we've had the city attorney speak, we've had the city planner speak, and none of that is in that procedure. If you look at it, I didn't write the procedure. So the other issue is the procedure in 2205. If you look at OpDoc number 10, you will see that as the city attorney, one Mr. Gerald Chichester has signed. Now, me and Gerald Chichester have something in common, and it's that neither of us have ever been appointed city attorney of this city. So, all of in my view, every single one of the ordinances that Mr. Chichester has signed are voidable. So that would also be an issue if this came up. Now, I want to state, for myself only, I don't represent anyone in this matter. People aren't opposed to the Dunkin' Donuts, and people aren't opposed to the drive-through, but one of the things, and I'm not speaking obviously for the residents who've already happened, but one of the things that people don't mention is there's really no necessity, and this goes to Ms. Alexander's position. There's really no necessity for residents to come in and out of Virginia Park on Rainey or Elkins. We don't do it a lot, and we don't have to do it. It would be inconvenient if anyone were to be inconvenienced by not being able to come out of Rainey. It would be the residents, and the residents that I've talked to are not opposed to shutting it off where the single-family housing ends. Now, as you know, the Development Authority also owns the properties that are behind Skinny's. So that means, basically, in that whole square, you could also just sell them the street. I wouldn't oppose it a bit. Like that's as far as I can go to say sell them the street. So on Elkins, and because those are Virginia Avenue is a commercial corridor. Virginia Park is a historic neighborhood. And you have a resident here saying, we don't really need to go out on Rainey. We have 6 other ways out and in. And if it doesn't inconvenience me, I live on, when I came here tonight, I came out on Rainey, but I could have just as easily gone down Virginia Avenue and taken a left. It wouldn't have bothered me at all. It would have added 30 seconds to my trip, and I'm not opposed to it. So there are more things to consider than just that, especially since we have some time. Now, the other issue, if you would turn to, and this is in homes. Let me cover this right now. There is a due process issue, a Georgia constitutional issue, and a United States constitutional issue with holding this public hearing this evening, because as you see, the parcel that's associated with 3477 is listed on the application, but there was no signage placed on 3477 Rainey, and there was no advertisement for 3477 Rainey, or at least no evidence has been presented that there was. In addition, if you look on, starting on OpDoc, well, it's really starting on OpDoc 11, what you're going to find is you're going to find a planning report from the city that states a 10-foot alley runs to the rear. I'm on this, I think the second sentence of that whole paragraph, and once again, that's a city document. that I've taken a photograph and made a copy of, a true and correct copy. So a 10-foot alley runs to the rear of 3483 Rainey from Rainey to Elkins. A second alley runs north between 3477 Rainey and 3474 Elkins. Presumably, these are owned by the city and would have to be rezoned. In addition to them having to be rezoned, they would have to be purchased by Mr. Patel in order for him to use them. So there is another constitutional issue, and it's the gratuities clause. Any person who really opposed this, that they could seek mandamus on that. And they could go and they could say to void any of this project because of the fact that the city hasn't sold them. And the reason why I know the city hasn't sold them this property is because I've asked for the minutes where your body has, and that would be on OpDoc 12, 13, and 14. And it's a series of emails where I've asked for any minutes of the city council where the city has agreed to alienate that problem, those alleyways in favor of anyone. Now, the example is any public street around here. It's the same thing as a public street. You can't just give away the public street. If you decide to close Rainey, right there at the last single-family home line, great, but we still would have to sell it to them. We can't just give it to them. And that's the same thing with the alleyways. The reason why the planner presumed that this was city property is because it wasn't part of the parcels that the Development Authority owned, which were at 3477 Rainey and the Airport View. Those alleyways were always city property because all the property in the city is city property that's not owned by somebody else. So that's something that needs to be taken care of because it would cause a massive problem for Mr. Patel. If this is the first time he's hearing about this issue, it's not because of me. So what we need to do is we need to go back and we need to follow, first of all, we need to pass a zoning procedures ordinance, which is signed by the city attorney. That would be a big problem. Because as you guys know, there are a lot of people who this would really upset if it goes in as it is, without any restructuring the traffic flow, without any restructuring or closing of the street there. That would be a problem for a lot of people. So, so the first thing we need to do is we need to have a zoning procedures rule, which has actually been signed by the city attorney as to form and approved as to form, as it's stated in the previous zoning procedures law that we had, which wasn't 2205. And it gets hard to talk about because 2205 now covers zoning procedures, whereas it did not before. But once again, it was signed by Mr. Chichester, who was not and is not and never was the city attorney of the city of Hapeville. And let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Okay, so thank you very much for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you. I will open up for rebuttal momentarily, but I will take further comments either for or against this project on my left-hand side of the room. Okay, Mr. Patel, did you have any rebuttal you'd like to make?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to leave it up to Lynn and about this alleyway. I think we had worked it out with the attorneys and showed it on the plans and what have you. So I don't know all the legal scenario, but I think so. I'll leave it up to her. I think. But the comment that you made, Jeff, I'm not sure. I don't know your name, so.
Mr. Dalton.
Yes. My family's doing business since 1994 in the city of Hapeville. When we came, the Best Western Hotel was shut down hotel. It was a dump. It was a complete dump. Nobody wanted to stay there. The whole thing was closed. We spent our capital, our money, renovated to Best Western. After 2 years, we brought IHOP there. Nobody wanted, again, the restaurant was done. That changed that corner there. That's like the entrance to the city of Hapeville. We still own that hotel. We still run that, IHOP is run by somebody else. We still own that. After that, we bought the old car surgeon building. Again, it was closed down. There was no tax revenue to the city of Hapeville. We bought that place, used our own capital. I didn't come to the city for any tax benefits, tax breaks. We converted to Staybridge Suites. That hotel right now, average, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's about $20,000 a month in tax revenue that hotel pays to City of Hayfield. Best Western pays about $15,000 to $16,000 a month in tax revenue that we collect from people at the City of Hayfield. Regarding the extended stay zoning that you mentioned, there was no zoning done. What zoning was done with the help, with us, with the previous city manager, is that how do you stop the extended stay place coming in similar to in-city suite? Because nobody wanted in-city suite hotel in the city. Mayor, council, at that time, I had a meeting with an executive session, and they had said, Raj, please help us with the in-city suite. The previous city manager wanted to give tax breaks, pilot program they was used to call, all right? We never got a pilot program. We bought the hotel about what, 14 months ago. We have spent, Chief can vouch for that, we have spent money in that, we have cleaned it up, we put security guard there, it has changed exterior, we have replaced all the windows, we're still working on the hotel. And at first 3 months when we bought it, I was wondering, so what the hell did I do here? Why did I buy this place? Okay? I had a meeting with the mayor and said, we will work with you on this, but again, never got a single tax break on that property. What we changed as far as zoning goes, the zoning, the city worked with us, it says how do you prevent extended stay hotel like in-city suite coming in? And that's what we changed the zoning, so that nobody could build like, what do you call it? In-town suites or things like that. The hotel that we're building, another extended stay, yeah, it's a Marriott brand. That people pay $100, $120 a night. Again, that hotel will bring extra revenue to the city of Hayfield. So, I'm sorry, but when you said that I'm getting a lot of tax breaks from city, no, I don't. I'm not getting, I'm not getting a single tax break on any of my project in city of Hayfield.
I didn't say you were gonna.
Well, you said, well,
I said you're gonna sweep
it's okay. You meant to say that Mr. Fortes
You've had
got.
George, you've had your comments, he's rebutting. We have to follow the procedures.
And regarding this land came about, at one time, when we bought it, nobody wanted to buy this land. We came, David Burt, the city, development.
Right.
He approached us, said, Raj, we need this, can you look into it? And at that time, I was looking for an office building for my own hotel corporate office. And that sounded like perfect idea. I said, okay, I will do retail and the office building on the top, mixed use development. If you look at the plans of this building, if you look at the exterior of this building, then you will see this is not a, what do you call it, just a two-story building. It's very architecturally designed. It's gonna cost almost $3.5 million to build. So, and it's gonna make the Virginia, that is gonna be popped. So, again, not a tax break from the city at all on this project either. And I wanna say, any projects we have done, we have paid the full permit fees. Holiday Inn Express, that was one thing. Holiday Inn Express that we built, but it took me through 2 years to get that approved. The slab you were talking about had a two-story building. I had civil engineer and the feasibility, the people that do site survey, we did a compaction test on the slab, underground, and it was approved for I can build up to 7-story and nothing would happen to the slab. So it wasn't like we went, just build it. We did our own, we had to do our compaction study. It's all there, submitted to the city for building permit, then the building permit was issued. So we make sure the slab was capable of handling 5-story building. Again, the slab is capable of holding 7-story wood construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patel.
May I respond?
Yes, I assume Andy, can he, since we're in rebuttal?
No,
Okay.
And now you're allowed for now if you close the public hearing on
Okay.
opposition, then that time's over.
Okay. Do you have any response to any of the issues raised?
No, Mr. Dalton is, first off, Mr. Dalton is correct. Your rules of procedure do speak of making a decision on a zoning matter at the next meeting. That's because we set it up per your instructions to be a hearing on your workshop meetings or your middle of the month meetings, a decision at the next meeting. And so at our last meeting, we had to postpone that because we did not have a quorum. So the matter was postponed tonight for a public hearing, so your decision would be at the next meeting. So that is correct. As to his statements regarding the efficacy and legality of the procedures, they're fine. It does not matter whether or not, first of all, Mr. Chichester was appointed, as was our firm, to serve as the city's attorney. So those comments should have no bearing on your decision as to whether or not to approve or disapprove. You're following the procedures tonight, taking public comment, public hearing, but he is correct that it is at your next meeting that you make that decision.
All right, any questions, council?
I did make the inquiry about the Venus, this alleyway thing, and talk to me about that. Who actually owns that alleyway?
So it is, the city owns kind of like a T that goes down. There's a number of them throughout the city that were originally, according, I talked to Lee about it, went way back. Originally, I think it was garbage. There are no utilities underneath it. The city, we are putting an easement across. It's not going across any built part, that's only across the parking lot. And the city is allowing for an easement on the subdivision plat, and so should they ever require access to it, they are not selling it to Mr. Patel. It's simply an easement. That alleyway was never, there's no reason for the alleyway other than, I think, historically what used to happen, that no longer happens. We spent a lot of time working with community services and the attorney's office trying to figure out a way in which, what we should do with this alleyway.
If the alley, and it's not clear to us whether there's been an ongoing maintenance. So if the alleyway existed and the city has maintained the alleyway, then a prescription easement arises, in which case there is a right or a property interest that the city has in it. And so to that extent, there would be an interest in it, and that is a right held by the city. I don't know that there's anything conclusive, but we have not done a title research of that property in order to determine whether or not there is an alleyway or not, which is also good in the sense that we're having this public discussion about the alleyway, the zoning, the implications. And so the decision that you may make at the next meeting as decided, we can go and research that if you wish. We have not made any official determination as to the existence or non-existence of the alleyway as it pertains to being a public right of interest.
I'm just going to speak for me. Like I said, I inquired about this before, and for me, I would prefer to have that answer.
Move. Unless there's any objections, so the council will move.
And
I think we should.
And concerning, is it okay if I make a comment?
Absolutely.
Concerning the comment about making it a dead-end street, I can't recall us doing anything other than making culverts in the past, so I'm not even sure the legal process other than saying, let it be done, but I guess how do we go about?
Previous council did discuss that, the possibility of closing one or both of those streets
Sure.
to eliminate that would help with the cut-through problems that have been raised tonight. So that's something that was discussed before, but it never went anywhere, I don't believe.
But I mean, how do you close a street? Is it by way of resolution? I know like the road that goes up towards Walmart and East Point was closed probably ages ago, I'm not sure.
There's both
Pretty good.
there's a procedure for the abandonment of roads that is followed, and it's in, I think, Title 42, if I remember correctly. But for the abandonment of roads, there's a procedure for municipalities and counties to follow as they go to abandon a road. So there's a process. It requires notice, identification of what that area is to be abandoned, and then that would effectively close it. But you can declare it closed at any time your ordinance, of course, require, if you want to adopt an ordinance that says that it's closed, you have a 2-reading rule for those ordinances anyway, so you have 2 readings unless you waive that. And then as far as the abandonment and declaration of the property being surplus property, there's a process for that in the state law. So if you wish us to set forth, we can provide a memo that explains those steps in that process, and then you consider whether you want to move forward with that or not.
I'd like that in addition to what,
Council, would y'all like that information? I think I would.
Yeah.
I imagine we would have to have easement for utilities, because I'm sure there are utilities there. Right, Lynn?
Yes.
Okay.
the claim was made that there was not proper signage posted. If we could be provided with the, I know it was common practice when I was on the planning commission, that there was photos of the signs. So that could be in next week's, or 2 weeks from now's packet, that would be great.
We'll check that, because that is required.
Yeah.
And a notice to be placed on the property.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comments, council?
So since it's currently written, since it's currently written as consideration and action, although we're just treating this as a public hearing with no action, does your agenda need to be modified in any way to reflect that an action is not made, because we're not really postponing it to 2 weeks from now? If by process it should be on 2 weeks from now, does this?
Be on the safe side, why doesn't someone make a motion that we strike the word action? And consideration and action, and just make item 7.2. Are we okay with that, Andy, since it is a zoning matter?
If you take no action, you take no action, so it doesn't matter what the agenda says, because
Okay.
the minutes will reflect that you took no action.
Okay.
But if you wish to do that, you certainly can.
No, it's not need complicating an already complicated situation. Okay, so if there are no other comments or questions from council, that will close the public hearing. Item 7.2, special exception in 917 Virginia Avenue. And I will open a public hearing on item 7.3, which is consideration and action on 2019 alcohol beverage license for Compton Hotel and Restaurant Group. The applicant is in the process of publishing the legal advertisement as required by the ordinance. The advertisement is to run in the January 9th and 16th South Fulton Neighbor newspaper. As of the date of this packet, staff has not had the opportunity to meet, but will meet before January 8th in order to give council an update on recommendation pending advertising and inspection results. Staff expects that the location will pass as it has recently passed inspections in December under the previous management. So staff comments?
Comments from staff is our alcohol group met today. All of the requirements for code, planning, all groups for Kenton, for the alcohol review that have been passed. The one thing that has not been done, and that was because of special circumstances with the timing of the holidays, was the advertisement. So as a leader of the alcohol group, I can't recommend, but as a city manager, given the circumstances, I would say it is fair and right for us to go ahead and give them the alcohol license.
Andy, what's your legal perspective on this?
The city manager is correct that the alcohol application is deficient in the respect that the advertisement for the license has not run in the newspaper. It has been documented and provided to us that the advertisement has been purchased and it is set to run.
So it's a technical timing issue.
It's a timing issue, so you can approve the license subject to the actual proof of running, which is an affidavit from the newspaper that says that the ad was run. They'll provide a copy of that clipping from the newspaper that then is submitted.
Sorry, let's get feedback.
That then is submitted later. So if you want to approve the application, you may approve it tonight, subject to proof of that advertisement being run in the newspapers, and at which time, once that proof is submitted, then the license will be effectively issued and effective. until that time, it would not be effective. Does that make sense? You conditionalize your approval on proof that the advertisement is run.
Which is a similar situation which we had when we had the opening of the Solis Hotel.
Correct, right.
In October of 2016.
Right.
So,
Okay.
So they would not be able to serve until,
That's what I was about to
That's
ask.
correct.
until,
That's what I was about to ask.
That's correct. The license would not be effective until we had proof of advertising.
Proof of advertisement, but not the actual advertising.
You know, there's an ad, the ad has, our ordinance requires an affidavit of publication, which is an affidavit from the publisher saying that this ran in the newspaper.
Okay, past tense.
So how do we, so how's that enforceable?
We revoke if it doesn't occur.
It's only the new, yes, it's only this new application, so it's not, doesn't affect any existing application or any existing licenses.
Do they issue the affidavit when it's published or once it's ran past tense?
Once the paper is actually printed, and so it would be the date, they can issue the affidavit the day the paper is printed.
Because our ordinance doesn't require that it runs, they just need the affidavit.
And the affidavit shows that the advertisement has,
And it's gonna be
run.
published anyway.
I think that's set to run,
January
9th.
9th.
9th and 16th.
so conditionally, the last call for alcohol, under the current applicant would be at midnight on June 19th, and or whatever set time, closing time is, and then the next day, sorry, January, yeah. I want summer to be here.
yeah, January, so it would run,
I just want tomorrow to be here.
it would set to run on the 16th, sorry, 16th.
Okay,
So on the 7th, the morning of the 7th, well, actually, it would be published on the 16th, so the day of the 16th, they could go pick up the affidavit, bring it and give it to Tim, and staff will have that, and then they can start serving it.
okay. So it's like the paperwork that they file with the city for January's alcohol sales and receipts, I guess would just reflect a transfer of goods from one company to the next. I mean, I don't think they're gonna purge the beer and the whiskey and then buy it back.
It'll be seamless.
Okay. Just trying to be pro-business and not too crazy.
All right. I assume you represent the applicant. If you would state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Michael Sarge from Sarge Life Attorneys. I'm here actually, I represent the owners of the hotel. I'm joined by Maria Strebe, who's with our transition team, Kimpton, and Willie Moss, who's also with Kimpton, and Beth Allen, who's in charge of sales and marketing at the hotel
Indeed.
presently, and will continue in that capacity. So you've heard the purpose of the application is really it's a change of operating company, change of management company. The hotel ownership staying in place, the hotel staff staying in place, the hotel general manager, Mr. Sutter, is staying in place. He's also representative on the alcohol license. Regretfully, he couldn't be here this evening, he's out of town. As a practical matter, you're not going to notice that there's any difference in alcohol service at the hotel. It will remain unchanged from where it is now. It's when Kimpton comes in and runs it. Kimpton is a national company. It's a subsidiary of IHG Hotels, which is an international company headquartered here in Dunwoody. So we're excited to have them come to the hotel and operate.
So basically, it'll be flying a different flag from the Solis.
That's correct.
All right. Any questions for the applicant? Okay. All right, I will open up the floor for comments, either for or against this application. I will start on my right-hand side of the room. And my left. Mr. Rogan.
Yeah, George Logan, 2108 Woodland Drive. Who owns the hotel? I think, I don't know if you have to go through this because the city owns the hotel, not Akron. Can't the city do something here? I mean, you have to go through all of, I'm not familiar with the new alcohol code, but Akron does not own that hotel.
The people serving the alcohol have to get the license, so.
Right, okay, so, but I think you need to make it clear that who owns that hotel.
Thank you.
My privilege, I got migraine, so I'm putting on sunglasses just so y'all don't think I'm weird.
All right. Any other comments, or I'm sorry, for or against comments on my left? And I've got the right already, didn't I? Okay.
Right, man, 500, is the cost for the license still $3,500?
I believe so.
Yes, sir.
3150. Thank you. Okay, council, any questions after the comments? If not, is anyone prepared to make a motion on this item? Motion to approve, is there a second?
Do you want to do it with the stipulation though?
Yes.
Oh, with,
Subject to the
subject to the issuing
affidavit,
of the affidavit
affidavit for advertisement.
for advertisement.
Okay. All right,
Second.
second, discussion? There be none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. This is thank you. This is the same application, y'all might not want to leave yet. I don't think we'll go back through anything different, but consideration action on 2019 alcohol beverage license for Kempton Hotel and Restaurant Group. This is an additional facility. The applicant is in process of publishing the legal advertisement as required by the ordinance. The advertisement is to run in January 9th and 16th, South Fulton Neighborhood Newspaper, Flushing. As of this date, as of the date of this package, staff has not had the opportunity to meet. We'll meet before January 8th in order to give council an update, which we got earlier, and recommendation pending advertising and inspection results. Staff expects that the location will pass its recently passed inspections in December under the previous management. So, Tim, I'm assuming same thing on this one?
Same comments as
Okay.
7-3, yes.
All right, applicant, you have anything additional to add?
Nothing.
Okay. I will open the floor for public comments for or against this item on my right-hand side of the room and my left. Okay? All right, council, any questions, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Motion to approve with the consideration that the advertisement be ran, and affidavit provided to the city.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Being none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. And this is a three-headed snake, so consideration and action on a 2019 alcohol beverage license for Kempton Hotel and Restaurant Group. This is for in-room service. The applicant is in process of publishing the legal advertisement as required for the ordinance. This advertisement is to run in January 9th and 16th, South Fulton Neighborhood Newspaper. As of the date of this package, staff has not had the opportunity to meet, but will meet before January 8th, as they already have, in order to give council a recommendation whether to approve pending advertising and inspection results. Staff expects that the location will pass its recently passed inspections in December under the previous management. Staff, I assume nothing's changed, same thing?
That is correct.
Okay.